This is David Tabb with GVWire, here with the former mayor of Los Angeles, Antonio Villaraigosa. Mayor, you're in town today to talk
David,
about.
you pronounce my name so well.
Well, you've been on TV so much, it's hard not to know. But you're in town today to talk about water at a water forum with lots of the big water players in the valley. Question is, what can the government do, or what can be done to get more water to help out the folks here in the Central Valley?
Well, I think what we all need to do is do our part. I've said for a long time in response to this notion that cities are at war with rural areas, that the coast is somehow uh, at odds with agriculture, that we all got to do our part. I've said for a long time that there's too much finger pointing and not enough of extending a hand of friendship and solutions, if you will. And from my vantage point, I said cities need to recycle a lot more. We need to recapture or capture rather stormwater runoff. We need to do a lot more to clean up our aquifers and store groundwater. We need to address our own lack of conservation, and then work with ag to make sure that they're doing everything to address their part. We obviously need to do a lot more around the issue of storage and technology and water markets, a lot more in terms of conservation across the state. So I'm a big believer in extending the hand of friendship instead of finger pointing, working cities with ag to sustain the breadbasket of the state, the nation, and the world. And, I've been on a 47-day listening tour, 24 of them in the Central Valley. And I've spent a lot of time through here. I've listened to the challenges that people face. I've been to East Porterville, where renters have to take a shower in a truck and homeowners get a 50-gallon tank allotment of water. That's unacceptable. There are real human consequences to the lack of, uh, the lack of comity between us to try to, and the lack of a commitment to fixing this problem, to addressing this problem in a way where that's sustainable for all of us.
Would you support a project like the Temperance Flats Dam when you're talking about storage? Do you think that might be a solution that could
Well,
help?
it's one that's supposed to be on the books and that people have talked about as a solution. Look, I'm a big believer in underground, restoring our underground aquifers, and we know the below ground storage is the most efficient way to do it. But there have been two dams throughout the state that were supposed to get built, and there have been opposition to them, even though they were part of a bigger bargain. And I think we're going to have to look at uh, making sure that in our debates and in our conversations about how we fix this problem, that we have a balance, that we're inclusive of a broad perspective. I have a very strong environmental record. In fact, on climate change, number one American city in those 8 years in reducing carbon emissions and cleaning up our air, number five in the world. We went from 20% renewables to um, I'm sorry, from 3% renewables to 20% renewables by 2010 in 5 years. We uh, we conserved 23% more water than when we started, and as a big city, we were using less water than other big cities, and yet we're only recycling. We recycle double of what we used to, but only recycling about 3% in the city of Los Angeles. So instead of finger pointing, we need to work together. We need to find common solutions, and we need to have a balance. And I'm not afraid to say that to a broad cross section of people. What we've had up to now is everybody wanting their own way, of nobody listening to each other. And I think that has been, frankly, a recipe for gridlock and a disaster for some parts of the state, including the breadbasket of the nation.
Finally, do you think the average Angelino understands the challenges of the farmer here in Central Valley? Do you think they're aware?
No, I don't. I think most of us don't understand the other, if you will. We live in our enclaves. And, this is a big state. And if we're going to thrive as a state, we have to thrive together. We have to work together. Again, I'm an environmentalist. I believe that we have to protect and preserve our environment for the next generation. But I think we can do that in a way that's not at the expense of people who are suffering today disproportionately. They're poor, disproportionately. They live off of agriculture, and disproportionately, they're crying out for leadership that will bring us together to find solutions to this big challenge.